Welcome to the DGD podcast. As always, Robert Reynolds, Kobe Pierce, and Keon. What is going on, gents? What's going on?
What's going on? What's going on? How are y'all doing?
What's
Doing
up?
doing absolutely fantastic. Let's do this first, man. Presidential debates aside, college football is back come Saturday. The moment we all have been waiting for is here. It's not Georgia, but by God, it's college football. I'll leave it there. With that being said, though, obviously, welcome into the DGD podcast. And Kobe, Keon, there was some news that broke today,
Yeah.
and it didn't go Georgia's way. And that is the Branson Robinson news. Torn patella tendon, and that is a season-ending injury. Let's discuss this, right? Our running back room was kind of shaky with regards to injuries, and now it took a massive hit. But not all hope is lost. Just going to leave that there. Keon, first things first, I'm going to let you discuss. What was your takeaway from the Branson news?
I mean, it's always rough to see a player go down, of course. But with what we have in our running back room, we will be able to continue to push on. I firmly believe that pectoral tendon tear is very rough. For those of y'all that follow this, y'all know that I'm a Giants fan. That's what ended Victor Cruz's career. Like it's a really tough tendon. Once you tear it, it takes some time to really heal. So best of luck to him. But I think we're gonna be in a good spot. You want to know why? Because Cash Money Records taking over for the 99s to the 2000s.
Sure, they're working with it. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Every time. It's like JOGG and soap operas, right? It just go hand in hand. Simple as that.
Every single time.
Fucking Days of Our Lives. Nope. Kobe, what do you have to say about that, man?
Yeah, I definitely feel like losing Branson, it hurts predominantly because it's season ending so quickly. Kind of like AJ Paul last year. I feel like have a pulled hammy, have a rolled ankle, you're out 4 to 6 weeks, whatever. That hurts in its own way, but basically to know all the work he's put in all off season, all camp, and basically to know that he tore it yesterday doing non-contact drills, it just kind of sits heavy in your gut. I know it does for him as well. That it's one thing to go out there and if you get injured in a game, but when you're out there not touching anybody, nobody's touching you, nobody's tackling you, everything should be pretty easy on the body. To have that tear, I would say, is pretty rare as well. I would say I would be very interested to know, like, if after examination, like, was his just maybe already partially torn, just like weak, like a birth defect almost of weakness in there. Definitely something odd. But I'm with Keon. It's a tough injury. Read some people on Twitter. My wife's in medical school. ACL's way better. Achilles way better. Way better to have either one of those injuries than this patellar. So it's going to be long, probably 12 months for him. I would imagine that he'll be getting cleared right around fall camp next year to be able to be back. So
a little bit lengthy, but
yeah.
it is something that can be overcome. I think it will. Trusting Ron Corson and his staff, man, that medical staff is imperative, right? I don't think there's a better medical staff in the country than Georgia's, and Ron Corson has shown that over time. And they're going to do everything to protect the player as well. So for what it's worth, right, the injury, it does take a hit, right? As a fan, you're looking at the running back room now as arguably the Achilles to your offense and team, because there's so many questions that come up with it, folks. But if you've been tuned in, we've told you about Cash Jones. We've told you about, actually, I want to say last episode, Lyneth Whitehead. Dell McGee was a genius going in the portal and picking up Lyneth Whitehead just for a situation like this. You got Savon Clark. Savon Clark shined as well, right? Now that's also another monumental genius idea, keeping him from going somewhere else through the portal. So bringing on Lynette, keeping Savon, right? And then you've got Cash Jones. You've got, Roderick Robinson will probably see some run now, I think, almost by default. Dejon's the guy right now, but you still got Kendall Milton. When he's fully healthy, he'll be good to go as well. And then, again, I just think it is a blow to your team. And you can't discredit that, right? That is what it is. But not all hope is lost, and hopefully hopefully Georgia fans will understand that, right? That's just my thoughts. Stefano sucks. If you don't, Stefano, excuse me, don't, yeah, don't get in between JOGG and her damn days of our lives. So yeah, so why does explain JOGG? We'll let the folks know that that may not remember what that is, but Sacred Grove says, "Get well, Branson." Yeah, man. I think every Georgia fan's prayers are directed to him. Right. It seems to be in good spirits, by the way, as well. I know he posted on Instagram a little while ago, and seems to be handling all right. I think it's a tough blow. I mean, he was looking primed to have a good season, and now that season's taken away from him for what it's worth. So yeah, I'm sure that's difficult to overcome mentally as well. Um, Guys, we have a loaded show. Obviously, Saturday kicks off college football season with week 0. Again, I don't understand why it's week 0. Debate me if you will. It should be week 1. There's no such thing as a freaking week 0. Neither here nor there, though. You've got a loaded show, like I said. You've got SEC predictions, college football playoff predictions, and a revamped DGD Pick'em is back.
And
Oh
and
yeah.
I'll even say this, and we can talk about it once we move on to the next segment. Not only does the calling it week 0 not make any sense, but also with how great college football and ESPN and all the sports networks do now with true week 1 aligning it with the holiday, you get football from Thursday night to Monday night for week 1. Like the week 0 just doesn't have the appeal it once did. They used to have it. Week 0 is okay. They had maybe two big games, but it's like now week 0 is full of. I mean, really, Notre Dame Navy is probably the only big game anybody's looking at, and it's
We
just
shall see.
overshadowed.
We shall see. We shall see. We'll talk about all of them. There's 7 games on the slate, and we're going to bring you our picks. And we'll explain that in a little bit. We'll get it later into the show. First things first. Any last words on the Branson news? If everybody spoken what they need to say.
Honestly, get well soon. Honestly.
Yeah, I think that's a good wrapping point there. Again, folks, loaded show, so stick around. First, we've got to, I had some coffee this morning, and obviously it was Apotheos, folks. I'm just gonna let you know right now, if you've never tried Apotheos, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm just gonna leave it there. Classic City Collective Dark Roast, Chef's Kiss every single time. Listen, check out this right here. Scan the QR code or go to dgdpodcast.com. Click the drop down where it says shop. Go to Apotheos. Click it. Get you some K-Cups. Get you some coffee, whether it be whole bean, ground up, however you need it. They have it for you, ready to go. And also, if you use our link or the QR code, 20% of every single bag or K-Cups that you buy, 20% of that goes to the Classic City Collective. So you're supporting them dogs by drinking coffee, and some damn good coffee at that. Listen, it is the coffee of champions. Actually, the coffee of back-to-back champions. Let me excuse myself there. Follow them on Instagram, Apotheos Roastery. Follow them on Twitter or X, Apotheos Coffee. And do yourself a favor. Make Jason work, the roaster. Make him work, and you'll thank him later. I guarantee you. Thank you, Apotheos, for sponsoring the show. Guys, Saturday comes up. There's an SEC team playing Saturday. So what better way than to go ahead and make our SEC predictions? Going west and the east from 1st to 7th. I think it's going to be interesting to see how these things shake up, man. It's going to be interesting.
Contenders, maximum pretenders. Yeah.
That's just it's as simple as that. In honor, because he's not here, folks, because he is not here, we will do Juan's first. We'll kind of debate this first, right? We have to do this for our guy Juan, right? We just have to. So
Shout
with
outs
that
to
being
Juan.
said, absolutely. So we're going to pull up a graphic for you, and we're going to read them off to you. All right. Juan has, in the West, in order from 1 to 7, LSU leading the way, followed by Alabama. Ole Miss at 3rd, Arkansas at 4, Texas A&M at 5. Interesting. Auburn at 6, and then at the very bottom of the West, Mississippi State. Are there any complaints? Are there any agreements here? I see some that's interesting, but
it sounds like Juan.
it does sound like
sound.
one.
If
It
I had to
does.
bet on what Juan would say the West looked like, that he'd tell you Bama's trash. He'd tell you Texas A&M's a bunch of they're trash. They're pretenders. He'd probably tell you surprised they didn't put Texas A&M at the bottom.
For what it's worth, you're right. I think you're absolutely right for what it's worth. Listen, I think you'll see this, and when it comes to our predictions as well, the West feels open for what it's worth. You don't have your typical Alabama just gauntlet, just eating the gauntlet and going undefeated out of the West. Don't see that. Not saying it can't happen. Not going to do that. I do think you have to be careful. I think there's a little bit of parity, if you will, in the SEC West. At the same time, let's pull the graphic back up. I probably should have kept it up to begin with. However, in the East, I think this will be a consensus trend. Georgia at number 1. South Carolina, those yard pimps are at number 2. Tennessee at 3. Kentucky 4. Florida at 5. Missouri 6. And Vanderbilt wrapping it up at the bottom. Let's dissect this. First things first, obviously, I think the glaring takeaway is South Carolina and Tennessee. That is very intriguing, and that sounds like very much like Juan. I'm not gonna bash Juan for making his picks. There are predictions, but that's a bold move. That is a bold move.
I'll say this, and we haven't seen anybody else's graphic yet. I would say that 1, 2, or 7, 6, and 5 are going to be pretty similar. I would have to imagine for everyone. I think it's going to be 4, 3, 2 that kind of fluctuates. In what order do you think those guys kind of go for the season? I feel like that's the question mark in the East. It's not really who's going to be the best. It's really not who's going to be the worst. It's who's going to be
in that middle spot,
maybe a little better than some people think, or who's not going to live up to a little bit of the preseason hype that everybody thinks they are.
All right. Let us know what you think of Juan's while we dissect the next one. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Keon, tell us your West predictions, sir.
All right, so I got LSU making it back to the SEC championship game. Alabama and Texas A&M, for me, those two were interchangeable. I do see the Texas A&M game on Alabama's schedule. It's a home game. It's at Kyle Field, so I could see that as their trap game, especially since they had them. I mean, of course, they're Jimbo Fisher getting out of his own way, away from them beating Alabama down at the 2-yard line. Arkansas, I do have Arkansas right there. I do think Arkansas has an opportunity to, I think, bounce back. I think there was a couple of games last year that, they'll tell you themselves that they didn't play their best. I think Ole Miss they're going to just they're going to run Judkins into the ground, to really be all the way honest. I mean, especially with the running clock, I think that's going to help them out in the long term. I still don't think that is going to carry them over Arkansas. Um, Auburn, I do think they're going to get that jump burst with Hugh Freeze there. I do think it's going to kind of help them in the long term, like moving forward, because they're still trying to get. I mean, if you're active on the trail, honestly, I think you're putting yourself in the best position possible.
I mean, and I think obviously with Mississippi State here at the bottom, right? There's, losing Mike Leach was probably a death blow, but I don't necessarily know. And listen, we got our guy Rylan Goody down there, but no knocking Mississippi State here. I just, Arnett being his first full season, there's not a lot of hope there in my opinion, especially in the West. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But looking at it that way right there, though, I do think when RIP Mike Leach, by the way, don't want to feel like I'm knocking that right there, but it's gonna be hard to overcome. I just, especially with the strength of schedule that they play. I mean, you got the West, but then like their schedule's tough, man. The schedule's really, really tough. It's just there's no other way to sugarcoat it. Keon, explain your East predictions.
You want me to explain my East predictions?
Let us know and then explain the logic, please. Yes.
Well, I got Georgia on top. That's just what it is. Big dogs bark and bite. We got the little dogs right there with Tennessee. I think Tennessee is gonna. Honestly, I think they're gonna try to build off of that. What was it? 10-2 season, 11-2
Correct.
season.
10-2 was the record there.
Yeah, I do see them trying to build off of that. South Carolina, even though they caught Tennessee, I really do think that it's going to end up helping them moving forward. I think you have Spencer Rattler, who's coming in to his final year before he tries to hit the draft. I think that's going to be very important for him. Kentucky, I think Kentucky is really where you're going to see that they just really don't know what they're doing over there with their football team. I'm not going to lie to you. Missouri, I do see them going through their struggles as well, but I mean, yet again, they're going to try to build off of their defense. And honestly, one of my favorite picks here, Vandy. Okay, this is not your grandfather's Vandy. Okay, this ain't even your great grandmother's Vandy. Okay, this Vandy is trying to take control of their situation. They know that they are the GPA school of the conference. Okay, they know what they are. But I do think that they're going to continue to build off of what they already have there when it comes to their team. I mean, seriously, though, they beat Florida. Like, we got to put respect on that. And Florida at the bottom. Mr. Meter Mertz is right behind, is the quarterback under helm, and it's not going to look how they think it's going to look, okay? You still have to throw the football. And, just from everything that I've seen from watching his tape, just being in the Big Ten, I'm doubting him. I'll be very clear on that. That's not to say that he can't get better. I'm just saying I would bet against those odds, whatever Vegas decides to put him at.
I mean,
just think if you had to go back 8, 9, I don't remember, 8, 9 months ago. I don't remember when this all happened. When Rashado was there.
Oh, in the bag.
He was there.
In the bag.
And you let your own greed cost you Rashada. Now you're not only down to Graham Mertz running your offense, but you're also hearing out of, I think it's Arizona State, right?
He is the starter.
He's going to be the starter for week 1.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a guy that's going to start week 1, not for the Florida Gators.
For Arizona State, them damn Devils.
It's just the kind of blunder that gets you fired.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say that. I mean, I know he's doing well on the recruiting trail right now.
They lost that kid. That lost that Austin Simmons kid from 25 to reclassified to 23 to Ole Miss, by the way. You could have had another quarterback, and he left out too for Ole Miss.
Which is exactly why I would have Ole Miss winning more games this year than I would Florida.
You're fucking trash, Florida. You're trash. You're Gator garbage. Clip this. I dare you.
It's the new ASMR. When he leans in like that, he's so close he can hear it.
Shh, you can hear Florida fans crying right now. Shh.
I mean, honestly,
and this ain't the cocktail party either yet. Just wait.
Now, I do want to say this when I look at my lineup. I mean, I do have the Florida Gators on. I mean, the worst case scenario, they could win 4 games.
I mean,
3 games actually.
I mean, I've said it before, Keon. I've said it before, man. If they don't beat Utah, they will not see anything above 500 this season. The way their schedule lays out.
I mean, honestly, to me, it's that, and I've said this before. It's a 2-game stretch: Kentucky and Vanderbilt. If they don't beat both of those teams, they are locked in at sub 500. Because right after Kentucky and Vanderbilt, that's when you start your SEC play, and you're gonna want to be firing on all cylinders. And when I say SEC play, I'm talking about you're really getting into like the name brands of the conference that you're going to be competing against there. But still, you're going to put yourself in a bad position if Florida they don't go undefeated during that 2-game stretch. They lose 1 game between Kentucky and Vanderbilt. They are not seeing 500. And then we start to count down to where we find out if it's really a 4-8 season.
Absolutely. Kobe, sir, I think it is your turn. Let me pull your graphic up. And there we go. I'll let you explain. Start with either one, sir.
Yep, we'll start with the West. So I got Alabama at 1, LSU at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Ole Miss at 4, Arkansas at 5, Mississippi State at 6, and Auburn at the bottom at 7.
Wow, I think Auburn at 7 is interesting. What makes you pick Auburn?
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's one of those things people forget. Mississippi State finished at the end of last year 3rd in the West. I just don't know if I can pick them all the way at the bottom. Auburn finished next to last in the SEC last year, only behind Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M is going to have a much better year this year. I don't overly enjoy saying that, but I don't necessarily think that the same is true for Auburn and Peyton Thorne. I think that they're kind of in a similar boat with Florida of the signal caller they have right now, where they're going to kind of do the two quarterback system for a couple weeks. It's just worrisome. I don't know if they really have the defense to stop a lot of people. I don't think they have the offense to keep up with people. I see Sacred Grove say switch LSU with Bama. I mean, you're right. It could be. I think, like always, the West, the East is always fun because you could switch them up. LSU's stacked this year. Brian Kelly, I think, is probably the only reason they're at 2 for me and not at 1. I just, last year was his first year in the SEC, had a big year, super exciting, played an SEC championship game. His track record at Notre Dame is why, versus Nick Saban's track record at Alabama, is probably the reason why I gave Alabama the nod right now. Even with the quarterback controversy maybe at Alabama, it just seems like historically Nick Saban finds a way to rally a team. And, I mean, we're talking about like possibly a team that could lose to Texas week 2. But rally a team and kind of fire them up, kind of going down the stretch. So we'll see. I mean, you could be way wrong. I think Texas A&M may have the most talented roster in the whole West.
They just got to put that shit. They just got to put that shit together, though, man. The whole Petrino situation. The reason I say if they get it right, they're up there, arguably even at 2.
Yeah, honestly.
But you're banking on because listen, their defensive line is absolutely ridiculously loaded. You got to understand that historic classes now sophomores, the ones that stayed, especially that D line, right? That D line is going to be probably the strength of that whole defense, and it's a good one, folks. It's really good.
Well, and it'll depend how what's the quarterback, Wegman, depending how he plays as a
Sounds
sophomore.
sounds like he's been doing pretty damn good out of folks, out of some Aggie fans
I
that they're
mean, I
talking
just
about it.
guess,
Keep
like,
it in mind, but
if they figure it out, I guess they have Wegman, who used to be a 5-star quarterback. They have Evan Stewart, who had such a good year. Anais Smith comes back, and they have
Moose Muhammad.
I mean, they have 3 really, really good receivers and 2 really good tight ends.
Yeah.
The question is, can the O-line block? And then the question is, can the defense stop people from scoring regularly? They don't have to even stop them, I think, every time. Just like the middle of the pack, top 15, top 20 defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's switch over to the East, Cubby. I'm going to pull it back up for you to go over here. Let folks see.
So the East, I got the Dogs on top. I got those Tennessee Volunteers at 2, Kentucky at 3, South Carolina at 4, Florida at 5, Missouri at 6, Vandy at 7.
Interesting. Well, to some degree.
Yeah.
Why do you now? My question might be, why Kentucky over South Carolina?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the hype. I think that hype can be a terrible, terrible thing, and I think we kind of saw it with Arkansas a couple years ago, and I've touched on it a couple times. The worst thing for South Carolina is to hear how good they are all year, win 2 games in a row, and come into Athens week 3 2-0, top 20 team, thinking they have a chance to be a national contender against the Dogs. You come in, you get just blown out of the building, lose by 3 or 4 scores. I think you kind of take that back and you go, wow, we are not the team we thought we were. We're not the team that beat Clemson last year. We're not the team that beat Tennessee last year. We just got thumped. And sometimes I worry that kind of can ruin an entire season. Like, that definitely has effect as it goes.
Yeah, the more like the morale of the team, basically. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and just like what coach is telling you, what you're seeing, and I think Devin Leary, the pickup for Kentucky, I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's good at NC State. I think he's going to be solid for them. I can see them winning a couple games that maybe they shouldn't win, kind of pull it out late. And then Missouri, I really think the only thing that saves their head coach's job is the fact that they have such a good recruiting class this year.
I can see that. That's fair enough. Let's read this comment from Sacred Grove before I'll go through mine. Sacred Grove says, I got to see Bama's passing game, but I don't expect them to fall all the way off. Listen, as long as Nick Saban is there, I don't see them falling all the way off. The question mark to me, it's not a matter of how much passing game they look. I think what their quarterback situation is, understanding that you're more than likely going to see them revert back to a more running style approach. If that's the case, Milroe could be deadly in that offense if you're an RPO-based, run-heavy team because of his legs. He is a physical freak. But to your point, Sacred, if it is Milroe, the question is his passing. And I think that's a big question. But you have Ty Simpson. Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if Dylan Lonergan is their quarterback before the season end. That kid's probably the best quarterback, in my opinion, that they've got right now in that room. Just not ready yet. So I think there could. I'm not saying it will happen, but there you could see that. I mean, we don't know. We really don't know, and I think Saban's playing his cards, close to the chest. And just what it is.
And if I had to add one more thing, I would say the fact that this year, and I think it's something that gets overlooked, they're playing at home a lot. A lot of their big games are not on the road like they were last year.
Home.
Texas at home. Ole Miss is at home. Auburn's away.
Yeah.
Texas A&M is away.
Yeah. Tennessee and LSU are both at home.
Yeah.
Texas A&M's away and Auburn's away. Those are your 2 biggest away games. I think if I'm Nick Saban, I can live with that.
Yeah, it's more reasonable than any other year. But no, I think that's a good question there, Sacred. It's a good thing to call out. Definitely think that it's going to be something to monitor, right? Especially when it comes down to the top of that SEC West. You see what I mean? Because listen, that LSU Bama game could be the deciding factor for who wins that division. Simple as that. So when it comes to mine, I'm going to start with the East. I saw I thought three sets of picks had Georgia number one, and I think it's time to let y'all know that I kind of switched it up. Good oh, nah, fuck that. It's Georgia, baby. Georgia number one. Tennessee though at 2, South Carolina at 3, Kentucky 4, Missouri 5, Florida at 6, Vanderbilt at 7. Now, the reason why I got that right there, I think I got Florida at 6. I think Florida somehow runs the ball to a victory over Vanderbilt, possibly. And honestly, that could be the deciding factor for 6 and 7. Listen, there's no question. It's Georgia's and then a significant gap. Significant gap. The reason why I've got Tennessee at 2, I think they get their revenge against South Carolina because if I'm not mistaken, it's in Neyland Stadium. And with that being said, I think they're out for fucking blood because Hendon Hooker went down that game and Tennessee got embarrassed on the road, albeit on the road. However, I think at home they're going to make that place probably up. I wouldn't say as loud because it ain't going to happen, but they're going to make that place uncomfortable for South Carolina to play. And it could get ugly. It could get extremely ugly there. I'm not. I'm just not sold on Kentucky as much. I know some people are. They lost too much. They got Barry and Brown, but I still think that's too much for Missouri to handle. Missouri's team outside of Luther Burden is not that great. They listen. I say that with the understanding what they did to us in Missouri last year. So keep that in mind. I'm not forgetting that. I just don't think they're good enough to beat the Kentuckys and the South Carolinas. They may beat one of them, but I think they just lose too many games. I'm not sold on Eli as a coach. Recruiting and NIL, whatever you want to say, that's a different situation. Kobe, you're right, I think. Just not sold on them, man. South Carolina, they're at 3. I think they handle the situation. I think Spencer Rattler gets it done. But South Carolina has some massive holes, one being the running back room. We thought Georgia's situation was bad. South Carolina's is way worse. They had to convert Dak Joyner to a running back from a receiver. And then there's really nothing much after that. They lost Marshawn Lloyd to Southern Cal, right? They are depleted there. And then the offensive line has been one of the weaknesses of their team. So you got to get that situated. You lose Cam Smith, Zach Pickens, Jordan Birch goes to Oregon. So there's some situations there that are really concerning for me. But I think Spencer Rattler does have a good year, and I think he can get him third for what it's worth. Listen, I want to see Vanderbilt and Florida swap. I do. But I'm thinking with my head and not my heart. Because if my heart, they'd be an 8th. Just going to leave that there. Just want to let y'all know.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, I could just see the world where it happens. They don't beat Kentucky and Vanderbilt. Got bad news. And you're in the basement.
And I'll tell you this too, and shame on me. And if you haven't watched Swamp Kings, The Untold Story of 2005 to 2009 Florida, do yourself a favor. Don't waste that time in your life watching it.
I'm glad I haven't paid any light of day on that piece of shit documentary.
But I will tell you this from watching it. I think even Florida fans have to realize now how big of a mistake it was to let go of Dan Mullen when they did. I just think after watching to see what he was like during that 2005 to 2009 as their OC, to look back and see the years he had in 2019, 2020 with Florida, they finished like a top 3 defense in 2019, and they were like the number 1 offense in 2020. Yeah. Did they win all the games they were supposed to? No. Yeah. Is he kind of a clown at the podium? I mean, half the coaches in the SEC these days are. I just guess if you had looked at the year they had in 19 and 20, and then could have shown them the years that's looking like they've had in 21 and coming up on to 22, I think a lot of people would tell you, well, that's part of Dan Mullen's fault for not recruiting properly. But also, you just don't know who he gets in the transfer portal if he's still the head coach that they haven't gotten. Just kind of interesting to think where you've swapped and come from. I mean, between Urban to him, you had nothing but bad coaches, and now it's kind of looking like Napier is either not going to have enough time or just can't steer the ship quick enough with what he was left with, because 5-7, you'll be looking for a new job.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
That whole thing just doesn't sit right with me. Just from the hearing about it. Listen, I ain't got to watch that. I'm not going to watch that. I ain't giving the Gators any time of fucking day. Just not going to do it unless we're playing in the cocktail party. That's it. Or it's Utah because there's a hat bet on the line. JOGG. But no. So I'll go back and look at my West here. I've got LSU at number 1. I think LSU is just they're loaded. I mean, defensively, they get Harold Perkins back as a sophomore. Mason Smith should be healthy back as well. Jaden Daniels is there, so they've got a lot of experience. Still got some key players there. Neighbors is going to be pretty nasty as well. But then I got Bama at number 2. I can't leave Bama anywhere underneath. A&M at 3. I'm on agreement here. I think A&M gets their shit together. Petrino kind of tightened ship in regards to the offense and the efficiency. They were putrid in offensive scoring last year. Like, it also doesn't help that I went to Jurassic Park and I saw Jimbo's offensive play sheet on the ground one time as like a fossil kind of thing. That could be the reason why they were scoring 20 points, 21 points per game. Just going to leave that here. Arkansas at 4. Listen, Arkansas's got a brutal schedule, but they've also got KJ Jefferson. Just going to leave that there. Kick and fucking ball. Ole Miss at 5. Quinshot Junkins is going to keep them at 5. And I think, honestly, they run him into the ground. Keon, you said it right. I got Auburn at number 6. I think Auburn, regardless of the question marks in the quarterback position, is able to handle Mississippi State enough to put them over in 6. Going to be interesting to see what Auburn looks like identity-wise. But other than that, Mississippi State, hey, it is what it is. Hopefully things start moving with Arnett in year 1 as a full-time coach. And maybe you get some kind of signs for hope for year 2. I think when you're Mississippi State, you just see what happens with that first year, and going into year 2, see if there's anything to build off of. And it's not knocking Mississippi State. I think that's just what's going on, and that's okay. Those are the SEC prediction standings, by the way. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Am I stupid? You never know. You never know. Let me know. Let me know. What did y'all think?
Oh my God. I was about to have to get off. I was really close. I felt it.
3, 2, 1.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating right.
Hey, welcome to DGD After Dark. Just gonna leave that there.
There you go.
Anyways,
the greatest thing in the world.
Anyways, guys, let's talk playoffs. Last year of the 4 system, right? 4-team system, right? Last year, I'll break mine off first, right? Since I went last, I'll continue the trend here as Kobe points down. Looks like the standings. You're probably right. What? No. I know what you're talking about. No, that's we got our pickems left, Kobe.
That's what. Oh, you're gonna talk about standings? Okay.
Well, no, we did the SEC standings. Now we're gonna do our.
Sorry.
All right, my bad.
I mean,
I'll shut up.
I've had a day, but we've got this, folks. Anyways, like I said, last season of the 4-team playoff. Now we're gonna talk and make our predictions, right? You ain't gonna catch me doing a Desmond Howard, folks. I'm not gonna do that. I think forever that will be the worst take I've ever seen in my life. Just gonna leave it there. Neither here nor there. I'm gonna tell you my 4, and I'll show you. We've got graphics as well. So I've got them dogs at number 1, as anybody should expect. Right? I've got them going up against Oregon from the Pac-12. I think Oregon and their defense. Listen, they still got some offense. But I think their defense is what's going to separate. Year 2, getting rid of Flo and Sewell, while they were great players, those guys were not scheme fits for Dan Lanning. they've able to get guys that are, and I expect that defense to take a step forward as well. With that being said, this might be the hot take for me. I think Oregon handles USC in the Pac-12 championship. I think they get it done, and I think that puts them into the playoffs. Bo Nix, arguably, right, the bodacious thing, if y'all have heard about it, whatever that may be, that nonsense, aside from that. I think Oregon has the mix of offense and defense to get it done, right? Again, if I'm wrong, it's probably going to be USC. We'll see, though. But in the 2 and 3, I got Michigan at number 2. I think Michigan bullies their way as expected. I think it'll be a close game against Ohio State, but I think in the end, right, I think they just end up pulling it off. And then 3, Texas. Hey, Longhorn fans, I'm gonna have to do this real fast. Hey, Longhorn fans, don't make me look like a fool. You coming into the SEC next year, see if you can win your conference. If you don't win your conference and you make me look like a fool, we're gonna have some problems. I'm giving you the benefit of a doubt.
Wait, can you put your list back up there?
I certainly will.
Okay, so all right, so I do like the Oregon pick because I do think they're going to be very competitive in that conference. I see Oregon and Washington playing twice. That's just me. Michigan, understandable. Texas, that's to me, that's a scorching hot take right there. That's a scorching hot take right there.
Listen, for what it's worth, Keon,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a win-win for me, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If they make it to the playoffs,
You're a genius.
I look like a genius.
100%.
But if they don't, I get to look at them in the face and say, your team is trash, and you've got to deal with that. Welcome to the SEC.
I like it. It's a great
plan.
Shirts,
that's a great plan.
Shirts are
I can't go wrong.
Soon.
I cannot go wrong.
You let me know. I'll take one.
Again, pulling my graphic back up, I think it's Michigan, Georgia, right? Michigan beats Texas. I feel like that could be an interesting game. I think they just bully their way through again. It leaves us to Georgia, Michigan, and I think it's a repeat, if not worse, than what happened in Miami. Georgia going 3-peat, baby. Let's make that happen.
If you're telling me, real quick, that the only team that stands between Georgia and this 3-peat is Michigan. Well, damn it, we 3-peat. And that's it. That's it. There's nothing else.
If you're watching this, you thought he froze, but he fooled you.
Yeah.
You know what, though? Hear me out, though. Michigan installed a beat Georgia period.
Oh.
Good luck.
Michigan, after the way they've played in the playoffs past 2 years, probably does have a beat Michigan period.
Sorry. They instill beat Texas. Good luck. Mm-hmm. Should I do it? Is that better? Or no, we keep it with beat Georgia. Roots over here. Welcome in, Roots. You're not making me bark with that comment, though. I'm straight nuts thinking Texas is making the playoffs. Just wait. You heard my logic.
Kobe, you want to go next?
Whoever the graphic decides.
Right.
Whatever graphic pops on, they'll start talking.
It just starts rolling up.
Boom, look at that. Kobe. Explain.
A little different. Yeah, I think that you're gonna have some trouble getting. Oh, it's so hard this year, and I love it. I've been back and forth on this. I think Florida State possibly surprises, not necessarily LSU, but Clemson week 4. And then at that point, I think 12-1 with a loss to LSU, who finishes maybe first in the West, is good enough to get the Noles in. I think Michigan's going to be bully ball up there. I really think I agree with Jeff in the chat. I think Penn State could honestly be the other team that challenges Michigan this year. Ohio State's going to have a great offense. They have a ton of talent. It just seems like Ryan Day and, I know we played a tight game with them this past year, but it just seems like I just don't know. You got to lean Michigan until it's not Michigan right this second. And then for the last one there, USC. I don't know. I could see the Pac-12 self-imploding
They're
to the point
dude. Hold
to the
on.
point of beyond return. But at some point, I mean, Lincoln Riley's gotten there in the past with the exact same style of team in Oklahoma. So I guess to say that just because they have a dog shit defense doesn't necessarily mean they won't make it.
They
It
have
just
an
means
e-fence. They have an e-fence. They forgot the D, by the way.
no doubt. But I'm just saying, I mean, you look at 2017, 2018, and 2019 Oklahoma all make it.
Mm-hmm.
They're all atrocious defensively, but they all have
speaking of-
Heisman caliber quarterbacks.
Fun fact: Kobe was there for the Rose Bowl to see that happen.
I was. Shook Baker Mayfield's hand.
Traitor. I'm just messing. I don't care. That'd be cool.
But I think it's one of those years, especially right now with all the hype from Bo Nix, Dan Lanning, and the defense they can play. Michael Penix is getting a ton of love in Washington. And then really with the Big 12 between Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, you look at Penn State had 2 losses last year, and one of them was to Ohio State, one of them was to Michigan. I mean, you
and
win.
Ohio State was close until the last minute.
Yeah, you win one of those games, all of a sudden you might be, the 5.
I mean,
you never know.
I mean, Oregon and their chances with Bo Picks. I mean, you have a lot of opportunities there for you to decide how you want to move around with it.
By God, it's bodacious now. It's bodacious.
Bodacious. But bodacious.
Counsel your Oregon friends, because that name is atrocious, by the way.
Yeah, no, that's horrible. Bodacious, Bo Nix, Bo Picks. It's all bad.
Bo Picks has such a better ring to it, but not near as good a name for Heisman.
I mean, 49-3 held him back from a ring too, though. But I digress.
They are lucky. They don't got the dogs this year. It could be a run.
Until they get that 4 spot, baby. Let's go. Until they get that 4 spot.
All right.
Man. Keon, let's pull yours up, sir.
Right. So if you remember the meme from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he has all of those pictures and he's like, wait! Right. That's how I feel about my list. So follow me here. We all have Georgia and Michigan being in the Natty. Let's all just acknowledge that. Now, Penn State. I do have Penn State, honestly, being in the number 2 spot. I think Penn State is going to be very dangerous this year in the Big Ten. Drew Aller, it's going to get crazy. Clemson, now that they actually have, a OC who can call plays instead of leave their quarterback on an island, I think they're going to be in a better situation. But I saw that you had Florida State in there. I do think Florida State and Clemson play twice. But
I'm with you.
So for me, this is my 4. I got Georgia, of course, at number 1. We have Clemson at 4. Clemson, they get smacked, as we know, as we've done before. So, of course, we advance. Penn State, Michigan. Now, even though I have Michigan winning this, I still believe, even with these 2 teams here, I believe regardless, the Big Ten is going to have 2 teams. Now, it could be Michigan and Ohio State. It could be Michigan and Penn State. It could be Penn State and Ohio State. Like I said, the 2 teams, there's going to be 2 for sure coming out of the Big Ten. So I do think we need to be on the lookout for that. Either way, we're 3-peating. Congratulations, gentlemen. We're here.
And I love the change up there of you have not only Penn State in, but Penn State being the 2 seed, winning the Big Ten, getting in, and then the rematch with Michigan not going their way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we shall
tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, we keep saying tinfoil.
Futures bets already locked in.
Oh my
Mhm.
word! Oh my word!
Oh yeah. Oh
All
yeah.
right, guys. Who wants to take the honors and read Juan's playoff scenario? Kobe, do you want
Ooh,
me?
ooh, 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 ooh. I'll do
You
it.
got that? You got that? All right, here
I'll
we
do
go.
it.
Here is Juan Daniels' playoff predictions. Bam.
All right.
Oh
We got
yeah.
we got Georgia at 1. You want to know why? Because I told you before the first natty we were winning the natty, and then I came on this podcast and last year told you we were back to back, and now this offseason I've already told you 3-peat's a lock. USC is there at 4. You know, I hate him. Caleb Williams, pretty good. I think he'd have been good enough to go to Buford. I don't know. Buford's so good. But they get in there. They somehow beat trash Utah. And then we just embarrass them. We just show them Caleb Williams can't play ball. He can't play ball with the big boys. All right, what else I got? Penn State. I didn't even know Penn was a state, but me and Keon been talking, and I was believing that Ohio State's trash, trash, trash. Been trying to tell him for a long time, trash. And I told you when Ruggles missed that field goal, trash. They shouldn't even been in that game. What do I got last? Who I got them? Who Texas. That's got to be a typo. I don't know why I picked Texas, but apparently I picked them beating Penn State. Got them beating Alabama at Alabama. Trash. So, and then I got the Dogs beating Texas because Steve Sarkisian, man's just alcoholic that knows how to call a good offense, but can't beat the Dogs.
Oh my word! Oh my
Boys
God.
lucky Buford can't play.
I'm so done. I'm so done.
So real
Oh
quick,
shit!
if we could pull that list back.
Oh my fucking God!
Because all right, so a couple of things, right? Now for everybody that's looking at this, one, I know you're not here with us right now. You're probably out working and doing some other stuff. But regardless, I don't think y'all understand as a Texan how badly I would love for us to play Texas in the national championship in Houston. Now, I will lose all of my shit if this happens because then it would also guarantee me a 3-peat, baby. Bring it
And
on.
listen,
Woo!
you know what?
I need it.
I still hold a grudge. I'm gonna be petty about it. I still hold a grudge against Bevo trying to hit Uga. Fuck
First and
Bevo. Fuck
foremost,
Bevo.
I ate steak that
Hands
night.
down.
And it was delicious.
I'm
Thank
not
you,
gonna
Vince
lie to you.
Young.
I'm not even gonna lie to you either. You really start looking at Kirby Smart, the teams he's lost to. He's lost to Alabama. He's avenged that. He's lost to LSU. He's avenged that. He's lost to let's see, who was it? He's lost to Ole Miss. He gets to avenge that this year, and then he has lost to Texas. I would love a playoff national championship to avenge the Sugar Bowl loss to Texas. They could sit there and Ellinger could say, "I'm back," all they want to, if it meant a loss in the national title game to the Dogs for
Wait a
3-peat.
second. Because that means the cycle would be complete, especially if Carson Beck looks into that and says, I'm back, then goes into the draft and gets drafted over Quinn Ewers, which that's some whole man. Look, I'm on a rampage right now. We are going here. We're locked in.
This is
Okay.
some chestnut. This is some
First
chestnut.
and foremost, I had Texas fans try to tell me that Quinn Ewers is about to get drafted over Carson Beck if Carson Beck wins the Natty this year. 3-peats, Georgia. I think it's the craziest thing in the world. Why? Because we're going to be slicing and dicing that ass up. It's over with. We have Janelle Aguero on our team, on our defense. Who will
Boy,
bad intentions. I'm just telling you, it's about to go crazy. I don't
that whole fucking defense, man. That whole defense had bad intentions this whole season.
Hey, guess what? AD,
Jeez.
welcome back. welcome back.
Absolutely, guys. So those are your college football picks, predictions, if you will.
Yeah.
Now we get to the bread and butter, folks. Before that, the show is brought to you by our friends over at Alumni Hall. Scan the QR code or go to dgdpodcast.com. Drop down Shop Alumni Hall there. You can also learn more on our website as well about Alumni Hall, located in Athens, GA, 10 minutes away. That's where they stay. Follow
That's
them
where we play.
That's also where we play. Where them dogs go hunting. Alumni Hall UGA. Follow them Instagram, Twitter /X. Listen, they're gonna get you hooked up every game day. Trust us. You know they will. They will do it. Go give them a shout out. Go to in-store. In-store. Mention the DGD podcast in-store and you get 10% off. So there is that as well. Thank you, Alumni Hall, for sponsoring the show. Guys, DGD Pickem Contest is back.
Oh, yeah.
Keon, you were not here last year for this. So we're going to do this. So you are now entering a revamped scoring model. Right, Juan won last season, and now it is a new season. And with that, Juan goes down.
Let me give you a piece of advice too.
Okay.
Don't ride with Arkansas. All right,
Okay.
I'll just let you know right now.
Or Liberty game hurt you bad, didn't it?
I rode. No. I rode with my man Sam Pittman a time or two. Too many.
Yeah.
Texas A&M hurt. That hurt.
Yeah.
Because I think I was the only one that picked Arky. And I needed that.
I'll tell you this, or you could be like our friend Black Adonis and go with 3 Florida teams.
No, that sounds
in there.
To be fair, me and him did better that week than Robert or Juan. So,
okay.
I mean,
you
gotta ride it. You gotta ride it when it's hot.
You just show the real colors. Okay, this is what that was. Adonis, you showed your true color. Man, cut that shit out. Dude's gonna break to you again. Simple as that. But we're going to tell you about the new rules, right? We've revamped this system, and I've got a graphic pull up here as well. So obviously, week 0 is excluded from these rules. This is week 1 through week 13. So you have 10 matchups per week, right? Similar to what we did last season. Straight up, no spreads, nothing like that. With the addition of the picks, there is a lock and an upset of the week, not to be used within the 10 matchups. So they are 2 random games that the picker can choose as their lock and their upset of the week. So here's how the scoring will work. You get 1 point per correct pick. However, with the lock and the upset, you get a 2-point deduction if your lock of the week loses. But you get an extra 2 points if your upset pick wins. If you hit your upset pick, then that means you get 2 extra points. However, if your lock hits, there's no added points. And if your upset misses, no added points. So, with that being said, guys, welcome the revamped DGD Pickem Contest will commence now. First things first, Navy taking on Notre Dame all the way in Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be interesting. Here's what we're looking at here, folks. The Brigade picked Notre Dame. Keon picked Notre Dame. Kobe, Juan, and myself all have Notre Dame winning. Do we need any reason for this?
I mean, if the luck of the actual Irish doesn't get it done, then nothing will.
They will leave their head coach in Ireland if they lose this game.
They're going to get a dub in Dublin.
Hey, Ireland, great Guinness, by the way. I've had it.
Oh. Shout outs to Guinness.
You gotta have it. You gotta have the pint.
Sponsor us Guinness.
Please. I love me a good pint.
Listen, get you a good pint of Guinness, pour it the right way. Yes. You got to let it sit for a minute first and then refill it back up. Simple as that. That's the key. Delicious, delicious, delicious. I'm not going to say anything else about it.
That's how they pour it in Ireland, I can tell you.
So fucking good. Next matchup, folks. UTEP, the Miners taking on the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Here is how the picks will go. The Brigade went with UTEP Keon and myself went with UTEP as well. However, Kobe and Juan going with the Jacksonville State Gamecocks.
This is about to be a fish fry and chicken is on the side. Okay, it's over with.
Well, I love, man, them yard pimps about to get slapped.
I don't know. I mean, hey, fellas, they're only a 1 point favorite.
For what it's worth, that means if you're not familiar with the spread, it could go either way. It's going to leave it there. Could go either way. Week 0. Week 0. Now, this is interesting, too. Third matchup. UMass taking on the New Mexico State Aggies. Here is what the picks look. Brigade choosing UMass along with Juan. So I guess everybody's following Juan in the Brigade. Keon, myself, Kobe, we're going with New Mexico State. Again,
this is battle of the ass right here. I mean, this is terrible. I think if you looked up last year statistically, the bottom 5 teams in all of college football, both of these teams are in that.
I mean, I only know UMass for one player, and that's Victor Cruz. So outside of that,
what about Andy Isabella? He won the Biletnikoff there in 2019.
He did. That kid lit us up.
He lit us up old school, like 200 on our head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is that. All right, moving on to matchup number 4. Ohio Bobcats taking on San Diego State. Let me see here. Oh, Juan had San Diego State. Forgot about that. So everybody chooses San Diego State except myself. I'm going Ohio. That Maction, baby. It's all about that Maction. Give it to me.
I like that fight from behind mindset. You're going to go ahead, and after week 0, you're going to be behind by a couple points, and we'll see how it goes for you.
Listen, new season, new me.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next week they play Miami.
That's a dub.
They could win that one. Hey, they can win.
I mean, after what Middle Tennessee did to Miami, anything is possible.
I'm gonna tell you this: if they lose week 2, or week 0, week 1, whatever, numbers that don't matter. It's all relative. All right, but if Miami loses after they lose, okay, wait. If Miami loses to Ohio,
then they're the real Miami.
We are gonna have.
Sorry. That's a different.
We gotta have a moment where we just put the picture up and we just laugh. We
just pull the final score up. For some reason, I was thinking Miami of Ohio for a second.
Me too.
Excuse that. Next matchup. Oh man, this is gonna be interesting, folks. Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors taking on Vanderbilt in a high school stadium.
Well,
here's how it looks. Everybody picked Vanderbilt, by the way, because they absolutely decimated Hawaii in Hawaii last season. I don't see that changing at all.
It's not your grandpa's Vandy. Keep trying to tell him.
AJ Swan?
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
And it's not your 2007 Hawaii either.
R.I.P. Cole Brennan, by the way. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
R.I.P.
It's going to be, I think last year, what were they, like 34-point dogs or something like that?
Dude, I think Vanderbilt dropped like 70 points almost on them.
Yeah.
On the road. I was like, oh, damn.
Knowing you've been there on the island all week partying it up, too.
More than likely. Lay's not included. 100%. But, yeah. All right, matchup number 6, San Jose State taking on the USC Trojans. Ironically, this is not on ESPN.
Thank God.
Yeah, here is how it goes. As expected, clean slate across the board. Everyone chooses the Trojans.
Now,
surprise.
Wait a second.
Oh my word. Say less.
USC fans. If y'all lose to San Diego State, because I know Tulane didn't smack the hell out of y'all last year. If y'all intro to the season with a loss here, you might as well throw the season away, honestly.
No pressure.
All of the pressure.
Okay. I thought.
And then Jordan Davis on top of all of the pressure.
Say less.
Yeah,
That's a lot of that's a lot of pressure.
I think they probably beat them by 60 on
They don't need it. They don't need the defense to handle that. Sorry.
No.
We just need to be perfect for this week 0 week, because common sense says that we're right. But I know that one of these teams that we are proving that we're rooting for is going to make us wrong, and it's going to be hilarious.
Matchup number 7, the final one for Saturday night. Florida International taking on Louisiana Tech. The name game, Dakotas Crawford at La Tech, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's another clean slate. La Tech handles Florida International. Everyone says La Tech.
Yep.
I mean, listen, there's only 7 matchups, so there is no lock. There is no upset of the week. And we shall see how out of these 7 games everyone fares. Someone will be a winner. Someone will be a loser come Monday. Just going to leave that there.
So I think looking at it, me and Juan picked one different game. I was about to say either the two of you will be right on all of y'all's, or me and Juan will be right on all of ours. But I think me and Juan picked different on one than I did.
It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. I've went against the grain several times last season, and it bit me in the ass. So I'm hoping my fate has changed. We'll see.
I got some crazy shit to say in 3 weeks when it comes to us doing this. I got some crazy shit to say. I can't wait. Football season is here. The lies are here. The truths are here. Football just got to get played to show us which one is which.
Guys, I hope everybody enjoys their Saturday.
Oh, 100%.
100%. We've waited too long for this. Football should be longer than this.
100%.
Or just my thoughts. Or start. No, I'd say end longer, please. Well, listen, next year you get that 12-team playoff. You get football into probably February, or late January, I guess. But that's two extra weeks maybe of football. I'm okay with that. Just gonna leave that there. Any final thoughts, guys?
Nope. I appreciate you, man. Actually, yes.
Sign us off, Keon.
Hold on. Keon has.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm ready to fire it off and let it go. You know what I'm saying? Charging up, Super Saiyan.
All right, guys. Keon's gonna lift it. Yep. Keon's gonna finish us off. So once we do that, we're gonna see y'all Monday.
Your team is trash, and you have to deal with that. Go Dogs! Sign us out. Close it out, baby. Boom.
Go Dogs. See.